My ex-wife and I met at the construction renovation project I was working on. She was an interior designer, and I am a contractor. I've owned my company for 18 years now and have done very well for myself. The firm she worked for was the designer for the renovations, and she'd come to visit for field measurements and to check work every week. One day we were outside talking about the project, and she complimented my team's work and said she told her firm that they should work with us more often on future projects. I thought, awesome, but this is not something I'd normally do on the job, as I typically keep it professional. But I found her attractive, and I asked, "So, are you married?" There was some awkward silence, and she was hesitant to answer. As I could tell, she wanted to keep it professional as well. With a smile, she said, "No, I'm not married." I followed up with, "Can we grab lunch sometime?" And she said, "Sure. How about next week?" That's when she was coming back out to check the progress of some work on the project. We went on that date the following week to Arby's. Yes, it's the most romantic restaurant in the world. It was great though. We were talking, laughing, and having a great time. She, out of nowhere, said, "Wow, I would totally marry you." She put her hand over her mouth as if to say, "I can't believe I said that." I just smiled and said, "Good, good." Until the project was completed, we had lunch every week at Arby's. That was our go-to spot. Sounds like such a lovely story where a couple meets and shares a connection, goes on to marry, and lives happily ever after. No, not at all. This woman is pure evil. We married in 2013, after being exclusive for 3 years and dating for 1.5 years. Her firm held Christmas company parties every year, and I'd attend. I remember at the first one we went to. This guy, John, was very touchy-feely with her. She would shrug him off or whatnot, but every year, he was like that. The second year I went, it ticked me off because I thought he was being very inappropriate, wanting to dance with her and all. He would get very drunk. She would pretend like she had no idea why he was like that and blamed it on his drinking. I later discovered who he truly was to her. We didn't stay the night after the party. And we argued all the way back to my place. I was asking her if they had something going on because he was too comfortable with her. And she'd say, "No, he's just like that." I asked her, "Do you like it?" She said, "Of course not." I said, "Well, go to HR." She claimed I was overreacting and told me I had nothing to worry about. Fast forward to next year's Christmas party. We were engaged. I had proposed in front of her family at Thanksgiving. At her firm's Christmas party, everyone was congratulating me. Old Johnny Boy was mean-mugging the heck out of me the whole night. Not even talking to my wife this year. I'm not exaggerating. He looked like Ice Cube when Ice Cube does that mad face, just like it almost like he was trying to intimidate me. John is an assistant project manager or something like that. He pretty much does the work his higher-ups don't want to do. I tapped my wife and said, "I think your work husband is jealous." That was the joke between her and me about John, him being her work husband. She shrugged it off and said, "You? No way." But I let her know how he was looking at me. She said, I should stop focusing on him, that he's nuts. So we ignored him for the rest of the night. We went on to get married in July 2013. Interesting how at our reception, I wanted the DJ to play one of my favorite songs from J. Cole at the time. It's called Power Trip. But ironically, instead, he had the song Forbidden Fruit programmed to play instead of the Power Trip song I requested. I only had one J. Cole song for him to play. And, coincidentally, he played the song Forbidden Fruit. Forbidden Fruit is a song by J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. And if anyone is familiar with the reference, forbidden fruit is a name given to the fruit growing in the Garden of Eden, which God commanded mankind not to eat. In the biblical story, Adam and Eve ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and were exiled from Eden. I think back now and say, wow, what a sign. Didn't even catch it. In October of that year, we found out my wife was pregnant. I was over the moon, excited, and later discovered she was pregnant with two boys, twins. I thought, well, I hit the jackpot. Fast forward to her firm's Christmas party in 2019, she said she wanted to go alone this year, and that I should stay home with the kids. Her excuse was that she was overwhelmed with everything and needed a night out for herself. I wasn't happy about this, but ended up staying home with the boys that night. She didn't come home that night, like she said she would, either. I blew up her phone until it started going straight to voicemail. She got home the next morning, and I went off on her. I just felt in my gut that something was wrong. She said she drank too much and fell asleep in another female coworker's room. She started crying and said, "I finally get some freedom, and I'm accused of wrongdoing." I was so ticked off, the crying didn't even work, and I continued to snap at her. "You need to grow the heck up. You're an adult with a family. I don't mind you going out alone, but don't try to lie to me and avoid my calls like that ever again." She ran into the room, and 5 minutes later, I heard the shower turn on. My kids were still asleep, so I went straight for her phone. I just had a gut feeling, man. The phone was locked, so I demanded that she give me the passcode, but she refused, saying I was crazy and that she was taking the children to her mom's. That I was scaring her. I calmed down and sat on the couch until she got out of the shower. When she came out to the living room area, I told her I was leaving. I just needed some air. I didn't want to leave the boys unattended with her. I grabbed my keys and I left. I drove to Bob Evans. After eating, I stayed, drinking coffee, and realized I had my headphones with me. I turned on Apple Music, shuffled my playlist, and guess what song came on? I kid you not, it was J. Cole's Forbidden Fruit song from the Born Sinner album. I remember thinking, this is the song the DJ played at my wedding that I had not requested. It hit me right then and there. Something in my gut told me that this woman was lying to me, and I was determined to get to the bottom of it. I Googled how to hire a private investigator. I ended up finding a guy and contacted him via Facebook. I told him my situation, and he was certain he could help. I'll be honest, I was not optimistic about the pie. I kind of figured it was all just BS, though I remembered my wife's coworker's name. Joan. I won't say his full name. I searched for him on Facebook and found him easily, especially knowing his middle initial from their company website. His page was private, so I friended him and messaged him, asking if he and I could talk. He accepted my friend request and said, "Who are you?" I'm not sure how he didn't know who I was, with my wife and my picture in the profile at the time. But I told him who I am and who my wife is, and he replied, "Dude, it's over between her and me. Whatever freaky crap y'all got going on, I don't want anything to do with it anymore." "Have a great day," I replied. "Over with what?" "Dude, what's your number? Please, man, please." He asked for my number. I gave it to him. A few minutes later, I got a call from an unknown number. It was him. When I found out it was him, I asked, "Dude, what do you mean it's over between you and my wife?" He said, "She told me that you knew and that you all had an open relationship where both of you had one other partner. You had won some girl and she had me. But I was done 7 months ago after she gave me the chlamydia you gave her, you piece of crap." "What? I don't have chlamydia," I said. He said, "Well, she did, and she gave it to me. She said she had no idea, and you were the only person that could have given it to her. I knew I shouldn't have signed up for y'all's freaky situation," I said. "My wife and I were never in an open relationship." He said I should take it up with her then, that he doesn't even speak to her anymore, and he immediately hung up the phone. I was sweating bullets at this time, sitting in my car. It was cold. Outside, by the way, I was scared. What if I had STDs? My team was able to handle work while I was away for a week. I had to get checked for STDs, contact a lawyer, and get a DNA test for my boys. My plan was to never say anything to her, just file for divorce, get everything in order, and hit her. With it, I got back home, and she and the boys were gone. I assumed they were at her mother's, like she'd said. Later that day, I got a call from the private investigator. I updated him on some stuff, and he wished me luck. He explained how he could get evidence for me. 1. He was to do some background investigation. 2. Physical surveillance. And 3. Something called honey trapping. He had to explain that one to me. When he said the last thing, honey trapping, I really thought this guy was full of it. I'm glad I didn't write him off, though. He told me he was an ex-police officer, a 54-year-old man who hit the lottery for $40,000 a year after he divorced his cheating wife. He told me he used the $40,000 to go into business with his brother in 2013. They both sold that company 1 year later to a startup tech company. His brother was some type of IT guy who developed some software. I don't remember the name of the company they sold their company to, but apparently it's a very well-known company. He didn't say he was a millionaire, but he said he never has to work again. He left the force and later started to get bored, so he started this private investigation service. He travels all around the U.S., helping people if he needs to. He's helped very wealthy people and your average Joe. He said he's also assisted with helping women get evidence on their cheating husbands. He does not discriminate because he despises cheaters. His ex-wife was a cheater, and 1 out of the 5 kids they had together was not his. He said he still acted as the father to that kid, and the relationship with him and all of his kids is stronger than ever. Anyway, he went to work. This man knows everyone. Lawyers, doctors, people in the FBI. His brother is some IT guru. You name it. He's worked with one famous person also. I learned that this guy is legit during my getting to know him process. Like I said, he went to work while I went on the hunt for a lawyer. About the time I found my lawyer, he'd already found out a lot. First, I'll refer to the other man as S, or Shark. The lawyer my ex-wife was having an affair with, and the father of the twins. Now, when the pie told me about S and how he and my ex-wife would have lunch almost every day together, it hurt. How we met and what we used to do. Have lunch together often. He had photos of them at hotels. He picked up audio of them having lunch at a place called Culver's Restaurant. It was a bit loud, but he was able to point out when their conversations were picked up better with the help of his brother's expertise in messing with the audio. You could hear on the audio him saying, "So, how are my boys?" Now, if he would have said, "How are the boys?" then I would have thought he was asking about our kids. But when he said "my boys," I swear fire lit up in my stomach. I talked to my lawyer about getting my kids' DNA tested, and I wanted to know if it was legal or if I needed her consent. His exact words were, although a mother can refuse a peace of mind paternity test, the mother's permission is not needed to carry out such a test, provided her DNA is not being submitted for testing and the potential father has parental responsibility. For any child being tested, I scheduled the test to be done on a Friday of the same week. My wife was still at her mother's. I put that in quotes because I'm sure even you know that that's a darn lie. Anyway, I told her I needed to see my boys and arranged for me to pick them up on Friday from her mother's. When we spoke, she told me her exact words. "I hope you come to your senses and get your crap together. I would like to come home, and the boys would like to also. So get your head out of your butt and stop treating me like crap." My reply was, "Yes, honey. Okay." Little did she know, I was about to drop a nuke on her. I got my and my boys' tests completed. It didn't take as long as I thought it would. Since it was late on a Friday, I could have gotten the results back that day if I had done it earlier. But I received everything Monday morning. I was not their father. I cried like a baby. I know most people would probably be excited and say, "Well, I'm off the hook." No, this is something you would have to go through to understand. If she had been in my face that very moment, I probably would have thrown my life away by doing something to her. I talked to my lawyer about all the evidence I had. Audio, photos, hotel meetings, emails that my pie gathered. And, of course, the results of the paternity test. I told my lawyer, I want to bury this bitch. My lawyer noted it. Before I left, I gave my lawyer my ex-wife's office building address and a contact for my pie. My hired pie served my ex-wife the divorce papers. And it was quite the show. He recorded everything for me. I asked him if he could record the entire showdown. My pie said it was not a problem at all. This wouldn't be the first time he's done something like this, and surely won't be the last. Folks, I will walk you through how it all went down. The guy turned on his video recording right before getting out of the car. I now know he used some sort of device that he pinned to his shirt pocket. In the beginning of the video, you can hear him say, "I love this part of the job." He was parked on the street, so he got out and fed the meter. I asked him later on, when I saw the video, why the heck did you put so many coins in there? He said, you never know how long this crap is going to take. He had to walk a bit to the building. My ex-wife's firm is downtown. He's greeting people. Good morning, sir. Howdy, ma'am. Good day, sir. While walking to my ex-wife's building. The video is freaking hysterical. He finally gets inside and says to security that he's there to visit my ex-wife at HNX Interiors. It's a completely fake firm name. The guard pats him down and tells him where to go. He gets to the floor where their suite is and tells the receptionist. Once he gets inside that he's there to see my ex-wife. She asks, Mrs. Jones. He says, yes. The pie says, you've been served, hands over the envelope, and walks away. My ex-wife says, served what? He's headed out, and you can hear my ex-wife saying, what the F? The envelope also had pictures of her and Shark along with the paternity results. Before the pie could even get back to the elevator, you could hear my ex-wife saying, no. Get your butt back here, you son of a bitch. The pie turns and says, ma'am, I'm only doing my job. Have a wonderful day. And he's waiting for the elevator to come. She's cursing him out. Are you freaking kidding me? Around the time this must have been happening, she was blowing up my phone. When I failed to answer, the text messages started coming. We need to talk. Tell me this is a joke. Why would you do this to your kids? My lawyer knew Shark, the lawyer my ex-wife was having an affair with. He spilled the beans off the record to my lawyer. Shark was a well-known lawyer in my city. I didn't know him, but other lawyers did, and he seemed to get along quite well with my lawyer. According to my lawyer, he had a real, deep conversation with him. This was not Shark's first time cheating on his wife. She had forgiven him before, but this time was a bit much for her. Months later, still during our divorce proceedings, Shark and the twins got DNA tested, and the boys were indeed his. My lawyer told me all of this. Shark's wife started divorce proceedings against him to take everything he had, as she was a stay-at-home mom their entire marriage. During my divorce, my ex-wife continued to beg me not to do this. I've maintained no contact, as my lawyer advised. When my lawyer told me that Shark was getting a divorce for his part, I truly assumed he and my ex-wife would be together, but apparently Shark was too busy trying to do what he could to save his marriage. My ex-wife was fired from her job. Not because of any infidelity she had with John, but because she lost it one day and went off on a client on the phone. Apparently, it wasn't the first time it had happened that month. I guess the stress of the divorce was wearing on her. And she would snap at everyone, and her job performance was terrible. She was eventually fired. She cried in our small court hearing, saying how she has nothing now because she was fired, and because of all the stress of the divorce, I found out the details of why she was fired through one of her coworkers. They told me everything, and how John told some of them that she gave him chlamydia. I asked the coworker to be honest with me. I wouldn't be upset, I said. I asked her, "Did you and others know that my wife was cheating on me with John or anyone else?" The ex-wife's coworker said, "Yeah, who doesn't have a work husband or wife these days? Usually, it doesn't go past the office, but sometimes it happens." Even though I immediately got ticked off, I thanked her for her honesty. I will never marry. Again, I will never tell any man to get married. It's just not worth it. Fellas, just stay single. Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel.